Sir Puka back to original party. Parliament clears air around VONC. And Japanese filmmakers in country to trek cave system.
This is National EMTV News with Neville Choi.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Tuesday's news. With the number games still ongoing between camps, the current and the alternative governments are at a crossroads as to what to expect in the days leading up to the next Parliament sitting. Today at the Laguna camp, former Health Minister and Abau MP Sir Puka announced his resignation from the People's National Congress Party and his return to a party he co-founded, Our Development Party.
Being one of the key players with Prime Minister O'Neill, who had ousted the dead Somare government in 2011 and aligning with PNC to form government, Sir Puka says Prime Minister O'Neill has not been true in honoring his commitments in the last 7 years of his terms.
But having worked with him for the last 7 and now coming to 8 years, I have observed that he's not been honorable. He's really not honored the commitments that and for me as an individual leader, in my own right, the commitments that he has given me, for example, in this instance, is not honored.
He made reference to the supposedly signed 7 million kina rice project in Central Province, which since the agreement was signed never eventuated, and he feels his people deserved better.
And somebody who has supported Peter O'Neill very vigorously, and one who was in the front line to make him Prime Minister in 2011, we actually negotiated a 7 billion kina rice project in Central Province. And to me, the most frustrating thing was that to me was one of the longest negotiated project that I have ever seen, taken over 2 terms of Parliament. And after Cabinet making the decision and Governor General signing the project agreement, that project still has not delivered.
He said this has made him further question O'Neill's commitment to his words.
It is a slap in the face of myself as a leader who gave a lot of commitment to him, and also for the Central Province. As you know, we've given our land to build a city and where the Parliament is, and so when you look at it, there's really no major project.
From 2009,
he added that Prime Minister O'Neill's micromanagement of vital development sector is breaking down the governance system and further affecting the economy and national security.
We must live within our means. If we live beyond our means, then we are making the future generation to pay for the debt that we are accumulating. And it's bad leadership if we do that.
Our Development Party was formed after the current government ousted the Somare government in 2011 by Sir Puka and co-founder Andy Kenemu. Back then, 25 members ran under the party, but most did not make it back in the 2017 elections except for Talasia MP Francis Maneke and Sir Puka. After much pursuit from the PNC party, Manake left ODP for PNC, leaving Sir Puka being the only member currently under Our Development Party. Annette Kora, National EMTV News.
Taripori MP James Marape has given his backing to Sir Puka of his resignation from the People's National Congress Party, saying Sir Puka has not only been instrumental in bringing about change and implementing policy, but has spoken out objectively and given alternate solutions about issues concerning the country.
And for 7 years he's been trying his very best, having help from the government that O'Neill enjoyed in 2011 and the government that O'Neill enjoyed in 2012 to 2017, and now moving on into almost mid-term in this term. His conversations, my conversations, many like-minded leaders, our conversations about how this country must go continues to fall on deaf ears in as far as the person sitting at the highest position is concerned, which is the Prime Minister.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says his coalition numbers remain strong despite continued calls for a vote of no confidence on the floor of Parliament. Speaking at the announcement of 4 new ministers to his cabinet, the Prime Minister was adamant his side still has the numbers.
We have got 62 members of Parliament, and we have demonstrated 59 59 members on the floor. Today we've got 62 with the return of member for Goroka and the member for Talasia to our ranks. Goroka have been reinstated by the courts. And of course, you know that we have demonstrated 59 solid members. And of course, the Speaker, which makes it 60, is a member of government. So we feel very strong by those numbers. And let me remind the nation, when we took office in 2017, our government numbers were 65, so we are back to where we started. So we have certainly readjusted to making sure that we live within reality, so it's good. Yeah.
Parliament staff today met with members of the media to clarify parliamentary procedures and any misunderstandings in relation to the vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister. Following parliamentary procedures, the motion will not be dealt with on the 28th of this month. This is when Parliament is set to resume. This was explained by Parliament Counsel Richard Whitchurch.
The vote of no confidence has set processes to follow, and it is vital that these processes are followed through. This information was relayed to the media today by Parliament staff consisting of Acting Clerk Kala Aufa, Acting Deputy Clerk Basil Kambuliagen, and Parliament Counsel Richard Whitchurch. This is to counter misinformation and confusion that may be circulating in the media and especially social media. At last week's parliamentary sitting, the Speaker confirmed that he had received the motion for the vote of no confidence 10 minutes before Parliament sat. Following question time and grievance debate, Parliament was adjourned on votes 59 to 50 in favor of the government to the 28th of May. As Parliamentary Counsel Richard Whitchurch explained, this means that there was no sitting on Wednesday and Thursday. Because there was no session on Wednesday, the motion couldn't go before the Private Business Committee. Therefore, it has not been looked at by them, which is a requirement as per Parliament's standing orders.
Therefore, not going through them, it has also not been put on the notice paper yet. So, in a nutshell, it's not going to be dealt with on the 28th.
However, the parliamentary staff clarified that 7 days is the minimum constitutional requirement for a notice of motion of no confidence on the notice paper. Anytime after that, the motion can be moved. A vote of no confidence doesn't have to be done in 7 days. A motion can sit on the notice paper for months before it is moved.
That a motion can be put on the notice paper and can run for months without being moved. It's up to the mover. Whoever puts the motion forward is the one that's going to move.
Lilian Sopera Kinea, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Mount Hagen General to close if thefts of ambulances continue, and Japan filmmakers in East New Britain to trek renowned sinkhole. Those stories and more still ahead in the news. Welcome back to the news. Over 4,000 kina worth of cash and equipment was stolen from East New Britain's Don Bosco Technical Secondary School early yesterday morning. The school's administration is not happy with the ongoing theft and have suspended classes indefinitely. School principal Moise Paluku says the institution is providing a second chance at education for non-selected students in the New Guinea Islands region. He condemned the crime and has appealed to nearby communities to respect the institution and its properties. Yesterday's incident is the fourth in a series of thefts where the school lost properties including cash, equipment and vital documents. A stakeholders meeting will convene this Friday to collect views on how to put an end to the ongoing break-ins. Mount Hagen General Hospital will shut down its services if the public continues to steal the hospital's ambulance vehicles. The Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority is warning the public to respect health service property. This follows ongoing incidents of hospital vehicles being stolen by criminals since the start of the year. So far, 4 of their vehicles have been stolen but recovered later. The most recent incident last Thursday at the Warrakum area in Mount Hagen, when the ambulance driver dropped off doctors at their homes after a night shift and they were held up by criminals. The criminals took off with the vehicle but it was later recovered after a local community reported the stolen vehicle abandoned at their village. UNICEF Papua New Guinea has introduced an innovative form of garment to prevent mothers from bleeding continuously after giving birth. It is called the non-pneumatic anti-shock or NAS garment. It is a useful first aid method to control bleeding and divert blood to essential organs of the body to keep the mother alive while being transported to the nearest hospital or clinic. Doctors, nurses, and midwives from Western Highlands Province, Enga and Jiwaka attended UNICEF's training on ways to use the first aid method. Clinicians are happy as it will help mothers in rural areas who are giving birth without the help of a nurse or midwife. Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Wera Mori is urging commercial statutory authorities to collectively implement government policies. Minister Mori says commercial authorities must not allow extractive industries to take the lead, but push for small, basic policies to drive the economy. He is calling on the Treasury Department to release funding earmarked for projects like the CPIC Economic Zone, the PMIZ project in Madang, Simbu Limestone Project, and the Gold Bullion Project.
Minister Mori spoke highly of supporting the agriculture sector, which most commercial statutory authorities fall under. He says the department will engage with the authorities to produce sustainable business plans, not just to ease the economic situation, but bring incentives to grow a sustainable income base.
We must create an environment where it will be conducive for foreign investors to come and invest in this country.
A concern the Trade Minister expressed disappointment on is the slow release of nearly 14 million kina for major projects under the Trade Commerce Department. This includes projects like PMIZ in Madang, among others. Minister Morris says the project funding fall under the PIP program.
And this hide and seek must stop. These are publicly funded projects. And if public servants want to get bribed before they can release the warrants, I'm warning them that this is not the proper place. They can take their practice somewhere else into the Waigani swamp.
The Trade Minister says the extractive industry will deplete gradually and state agencies must have an economic base where policies are practically workable. Minister Morris says if nothing is done, he says the state will continue to bleed to death with the current economic situation despite improvements.
We should be also pushing for agricultural cash crops, especially coffee, cacao, and coconut, so that our growers can be able to earn on a foreign exchange gain by producing cheaply, and of course in return you are gaining an revenue back, which is basically based on the US dollar.
Meanwhile, Minister Mori alluded that the Small Medium Enterprise Corporation will be reviewed in the coming weeks. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Despite the convenience of social media, especially Facebook, Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Wera Mori is calling for an indefinite ban of its use in the country. Minister Mori says Facebook is spreading malicious information, providing fake figures and unreliable information for the public, thus causing anxiety among many. The Trade Minister says he will file for a motion so Parliament can debate for a ban period.
A lot of lies has been told through that forum. I'm going to support the motion to ban Facebook in this country, at least for a 12-month trial period. So that at least people must now learn to such time they can be able to learn how to conduct themselves.
An 8-man expedition team from Japan is in the East New Britain province to film one of its geographical wonders, the Wowo Cave in the Pomio district. The crew, comprising 5 Japanese adventure filmmakers from Japan's NHK television station and 3 French cave experts. The Wowo Cave is one of East New Britain's natural wonders, located in the central inland Pomio district along the Nakanai Range. The sinkhole is one of many ideal locations in the area that has attracted tourists and filmmakers from all over the world. It has a depth of 540 meters and extends to about 15 kilometers underground. The expedition team is expected to take up to 7 days to trek the entire cave system, including its surrounding communities. Pomio District is one of 4 in East New Britain and boasts major untapped tourism locations. The district, however, is having problems taking in frequent international visitors due to its remoteness. And you're with Tuesday's News. We take a look at stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, and general elections are underway in India. And social media there plays a role, as it does everywhere else, to inform voters. Efforts are now underway to assure that social media isn't being used as a weapon.
As India votes, a typical village scene in northern Uttar Pradesh state. A post-lunch huddle about who might win. These men are discussing the latest political news. Their main source, messages and posts on Facebook and WhatsApp. We only use WhatsApp and Facebook. That's the internet for us. And with the election, my phone is flooded with political messages. Almost everyone we've spoken to in this village has a phone, and they're often relying on the messages they see there, the politically themed videos and memes, to decide who gets their vote. It's their main source of news. The electoral battleground, it's in their hands. But the terrain is murky, littered with fake news that can sometimes prove fatal. Authorities here say fake rumors spread on WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, triggered mob attacks that claimed more than a dozen lives in 2018. Experts on Indian politics are worried that during the elections, social media could be used to divide communities, or worse, trigger political violence. Facebook, already under scrutiny after the 2016 US presidential election, has set up this election war room in California. Sitting in Silicon Valley, these Facebook staffers are keeping a close eye on posts being seen by hundreds of millions of Indian voters.
We're starting to see a wide variety of different tactics that people might be using to interfere with the elections. One of those that we've been investing a lot in our capabilities around is video or audio that might be altered to not be truthful.
Indian police are also worried. This is just one of the many special units set up to monitor social media around the clock. And WhatsApp has launched a massive campaign to warn Indians about the threat of fake news. With more than 200 million users, this is the app's single biggest market. Back in Uttar Pradesh, the problem is clear. Voters say it's often hard to figure out which political message on social media is real and which is fake. We can't trust every message. We get a lot of fake messages. We just don't know what's true. Social media has become more than just a tool for mobilizing support. It's become a weapon for peddlers of misinformation. And voters like these often don't know what to believe.
It is Mental Health Awareness Week in the US, and one of the main themes is body image. In a world where sharing selfies on social media is a regular part of life, it is easy to see why that has become such an issue. Filters and editing tools can give you a smoother skin, whiter teeth, and sparkling eyes with just the press of a button. But has the pursuit for flawless looks gone too far?
With almost 500,000 followers, Kyrese DeVoe, or Tugsy to his fans, makes his living through Instagram. Like others in his generation of social media influencers, he's on a constant quest for physical perfection.
We all want to have smooth skin. We all want to have, high cheekbones. We all want to have, frozen faces. We just want to look perfect.
Kyrese spends at least an hour editing each selfie using apps like Facetune and Airbrush. He's also part of a new trend, which is seeing the Snapchat selfie look spill over into real life.
I want to be a Bratz doll. I want to be a living Bratz doll.
A doll is not human by definition. Why do you want to look less human?
Because a doll's perfect. I just want to look like my actual photos on Instagram. So I want to look selfie ready all the time.
Kyrese even gets regular cosmetic procedures done to look more like his edited selfies.
I don't want to have any lines because I feel like I just want to be a Facetune version of myself.
Today he's having filler injected into his smile lines and under eye area.
It's looking much better already.
Kyrese is not alone. Leading plastic surgeon Dr. Dirk Kramer says he's noticed his clientele get younger and younger, and edited selfies play a big role in what people ask him for.
Most of them come with a phone, with their phone, and show me pictures, and that's how I get most likes and most followers, and I noticed. And could we do that in reality? I'm tired of, editing the picture.
I mean, it just gives you a sense.
I show him the selfie I took with Kyrie's. He edited the picture. I showed the doctor the before and after.
Nasolabial folds are
gone,
smoother. Well, exactly. That's easy to do
with filler.
With filler.
This obsession with personal appearance that selfie culture encourages may have darker implications for mental health.
In those people who have that psychological vulnerability, it can be particularly concerning. They are constantly bombarded with their image and constantly referencing their own image.
At its most extreme, this fixation on appearance can manifest in a mental health condition known as body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD. For people like Alana Bagwell, BDD can be completely debilitating.
Rarely left the house. I was stuck in a dark room, curtains closed, sleeping most of the day. I wouldn't let my family see me, have to bring food to the door.
Alana says although selfies didn't cause her illness, the hours she spent taking pictures of herself exacerbated her condition.
I felt that I looked so disgusting and deformed and monstrous that I just wished to be normal. So I post selfies in the hopes of this sort of reassurance from other people. And when you hate the way you look, that can lead to you taking hundreds before you find the perfect one.
Our collective obsession with social media can be a very innocent and fun experience. But we are only just beginning to understand the potential mental health impacts on this selfie generation.
It's been called the biggest college admission scam in U.S. history, and one of the most famous names associated with it had an emotional day in court. Actress Felicity Huffman broke down while pleading guilty to funding an illegal scheme to get her daughter into college.
Tonight, Hollywood actress Felicity Huffman admitting to her part in the largest college admission scam in U.S. history. The Oscar-nominated actress sobbed in court today as she pled guilty to a federal conspiracy to commit fraud charge for paying a fake foundation $15,000 to get her daughter into college. In court, Huffman said she had no knowledge about the payments confessed mastermind Rick Singer made as part of the cheating scam, but then said, quote, "Everything else they said I did, I did." In court documents, prosecutors detailed evidence of emails and recorded phone conversations between Huffman and Singer, the two making a deal for a proctor to correct Huffman's oldest daughter's SAT answers, boosting her score. The government also said they had proof the payment came from Huffman's account. Huffman wrote in a statement last month, "My daughter knew absolutely nothing about my actions, and in my misguided and profoundly wrong way, I have betrayed her. This transgression toward her and the public I will carry for the rest of my life." In exchange for her guilty plea, prosecutors recommended to the judge Huffman get 4 months in prison, and she is spared additional charges. It's possible she may receive no time at all, depending on the judge's decision at sentencing.
Lori, anything you'd like to say? Charges, Lori.
It's a much different path than actress Lori Loughlin, who was also implicated in the scam, but instead facing 40 years behind bars after she refused to plead guilty to the initial charge.
Becky's still happily married to Jesse.
The actress, most known for her role as Aunt Becky on Full House, maintains she did nothing wrong. A source tells CNN she feels like she did what any other parent would do for their kids.
I don't really care about school, as you guys all know.
Loughlin and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, are accused of paying $500,000 to get their daughters admitted to USC as crew recruits, though neither joined the team. A source tells CNN that Loughlin is now searching for a crisis management team to help improve her image after the public backlash of this case. Loughlin's publicist denies that. The couple is among more than a dozen parents pleading not guilty in the case that has a global reach.
This year, I'm admitted to Stanford.
The parents of this girl allegedly paid $6.5 million to facilitate her admission into Stanford. They denied knowing anything about the fraud and have not been charged. Authorities have yet to make more arrests in the case, but a source tells CNN more may be coming. and may include students who authorities believe knowingly participated in the scam. A source says so-called target letters have been sent to 3 students, informing them they're the subject of the ongoing investigation. As of earlier this month, Lachlan's daughters did not receive a letter, says the source.
Huffman will be back in this Boston courthouse in September for her sentencing.
An American explorer has just made history by carrying out the deepest dive ever recorded in a submarine. Victor Vestrovo successfully plunged the nearly 11 kilometers to reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench that lies in the Pacific Ocean. He spent hours exploring the seabed.
After that, we'll go for a release.
The start of an epic journey. In the middle of the Pacific, heading beneath the waves to the deepest place on the planet. A sub with a titanium core built to withstand the crushing pressure. It takes 3.5 hours to plunge 11 kilometers, that's 7 miles down. Inside is American explorer Victor Vescovo. Then, touchdown.
At bottom.
It seemed a bit like being on the moon, but a wet version of it. There were small craters here and there. There were slight undulations. There weren't rocks until you got to the southern or northern portions of the Mariana Trench. But it did have some variety, but it was quiet. It was peaceful.
Yet in this most remote of places, life has found a way to thrive. There are eels adapted to live under immense pressures and a ghostly snailfish. It's the deepest ever found, but signs too of our impact. This pyramid-shaped object to the right looks like a rock, but it's a plastic bag. Scientists say finding out more about the deep is vital.
It's such an alien environment and we've got so much to learn. You don't get sunlight penetrating to those depths, so it's important to learn like how organisms get their energy and how they survive and how they interact and rely on each other.
Released by the US Navy, Cundy's first films are the Bathyscaphe Trieste.
Few have ever set eyes on the Mariana Trench. The first risky descent was in 1960 in a creaking sub that took 2 explorers down.
Well done, team. 4 down.
Now, 60 years later, resurfacing after 12 hours underwater, the latest dive has broken records.
Well done. You did it, buddy.
And it's part of a wider expedition to visit the deepest spots in all the world's oceans. The hope is the final frontier of exploration is truly open.
You're with National EMTV News. We take a look at Puka Sports coming up next. Don't go away.
Puka Sports.
Welcome to Puka Sports. To volleyball first, and the PNG men's Amoa volleyball team train-on squad of 18 men and coach Alex Gima were at the Aquatic Indoor Center today, training in preparation for this year's Pacific Games. Coach Gima says training for the team is going well as they work on their strength and agility.
Now the train-on squad of 18 men for the Amoa men's volleyball team in preparations for the Pacific Games are currently here at the Tarama Aquatic Center in preparations for the Pacific Games. Now I'm here also with the coach, Alex Gima. Now coach, what can you tell us about the preparations of the team?
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, our Amoa men's team were a total of 36 on the team and trimmed down to 23. Currently now it's been trimmed down to 18, 14 trawling, also 4 non-trawling. Preparation went well, it's going well too as well. Now we add an additional day, which is Tuesday now. Preparing the boys, just working on to excellent skills modified. We need to get our powerful servers not making mistakes, and also getting our passes right, and even though block up. I've got a good combination of attack. I'm so happy that we've got a good combination of attack. The 3 things that I'm working right now is a block, a thought block, and also our cover, and also a perfect pass. Those are the three things that I'm working on for us to win a medal.
In the next few weeks, these players will have to prove their worth to be selected into the final 14-man squad to this year's Pacific Games in Samoa. Coach Alex Gima says he is happy to help the team prepare.
And the team that I'm seeing now is it's something to do with the preparations, and since January our preparation is going very well, and hopefully I believe that we're gonna win a medal, looking at a gold medal.
Individual players in the team have had equal international exposure, and with the talents identified, Coach Gima is confident the team will be strong enough to make it into medal contention. Gima says while the PNG men's beach volleyball team won gold in the 2015 Pacific Games, the indoor men's team finished fourth. He says the only thing players need to remember is that by committing to training and mastering the skill set during training,
I'm just passing the message across to every one of you that wherever our team moves, please, I need that support from you guys. That's the only way we'll achieve win a medal. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Now, that's the Samoa men's train-on squad for the 2019 Pacific Games. Now, as I said earlier, the team will be cut down in a few weeks' time, where only 14 men will represent PNG in Samoa come the Pacific Games. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG men's football team will be preparing to compete at the OFC Olympic qualifiers. The tournament will take place in Fiji in September this year.
PNG has been placed in Group B along with hosts Fiji, Vanuatu and Tonga. In Group A, top-seeded New Zealand will face fourth-ranked Solomon Islands as well as Pacific cousins American Samoa and Samoa. The winner will secure the rights to represent OFC at the men's Olympic tournament at the Tokyo Games in 2020. The stakes are very high as qualification for a global sporting event such as the Olympics is a major prize. In 2015, the Pacific Games football competition was used as the qualifiers for the Olympics in Rio. This saw the 7-member association send their under-23 side to compete. Tahiti was crowned champions, qualifying for the Brazil Olympics in 2016. This year, the Olympic qualifiers will be held separately from the Pacific Games. The qualifiers will be held from the 21st of September to the 5th of October in Fiji. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Professional PNG kickboxer Nelson Desert Storm Sampson, who left for Sydney, Australia last month to attend the Pandemonium Fight Night, lost to his opponent Mohamed Ajmal Fraji. With this being just his second fight, Sampson has 3 more fights to prepare for in June, July and August.
Lo fight me aste no atangla PNG supporters stop. But me do thank you lo God na cameraman Leslie Wengembo me stopping the lab na kisin fotolomina. First fight me lo Sydney, lo Australia, me lose. La isi Saliba, na Slam second fight, me fight na me la finish him round, but I'm la tough man too. Me challenge him, man got name too na me la give him, me la fight go na, me la finish round na and win lo scope lo, some score win. So me thank you lo God na me thank you lo promoter Blumelia, Steve. Na me thank you lo Steve Jess promotion long Sydney. Me thank you lo promoter long Papua New Guinea Greg Seped na all work line staffs Young and Williams lawyers. Na me thank you lo Mark Sondo na Megraga team boys who have been training me through lo Papua New Guinea na Salami come lo Sydney. Na me blagaton la big la fight bakama lo August 17. Sydney versus Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea versus Sydney. The big fight here in Sydney. And we organizing through for promoter so.
The Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League has extended the deadline for all current and intending rugby league associations who wish to affiliate from April to May. One association, the Port Moresby Rugby Football League, is close to getting the association and its players registered.
The Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League has extended the PNG-RFL affiliations for rugby league competitions, current and new, who wish to affiliate for this year. Part of the affiliation for leagues is the registration fee of 50 kina per player and official, of which 20 kina is for insurance and 30 kina for administration. The affiliation fee alone is 500 kina per rugby league association. All are due this month, the 31st of May 2019. Port Moresby Rugby Football League is awaiting each individual club to have their players' registration and affiliation books signed and returned to them.
Individual clubs to submit their registration books. They got to do their player medical checks, their officials' medical checks, complete the books, get them signed, and submit them that.
So far, clubs in POMA-RFL have been depositing their player and official fees through the league account and have been verified through the deposit slips.
We have added up 46,000 kina. It's already added, made up of the receipts, the deposit receipts at the PRL account. And those monies will very shortly be transferred once all the completed registration books are received.
The extension has done the competition good. All they need to do now is get the registration books and cross-check the bank statements before submitting the books to PNG-RFL.
Return them to the league so that the league then matches the numbers to the monies, and we transfer them to the PNG-RFL insurance account.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. Injured All Blacks flanker Sam Cane could be rushed back into a depleted Chiefs team to face the Blues this weekend in Super Rugby. Cane broke his neck last October, but his recovery has gone so smoothly, initially planning he'll be back in the next fortnight. That return could come as early as this Saturday.
Sam Cane was moving freely at training this afternoon, a far cry from the neck injury which abruptly ended the Chiefs co-captain's 60th test. The timing couldn't be better, with loose forward lock Teleni Seyu the latest casualty after dislocating his arm in the 80th minute last week. Could he play at a pinch?
We're working through these. Either going to make his time this week or next week.
A return could come via the bench, as inspirational halfback Brad Weber will again captain the Chiefs. He played the entire match last weekend, denying current All Black Te Taira Tahuriorangi any game time at all. Then a call from Steve on Monday saying, hang on, my third choice halfback didn't get a minute.
Well, they're both All Blacks, aren't they?
Well, Brad's played 17 minutes. That's the difference.
Oh,
that was, what, 4 years ago?
He's an All Black.
Yeah, true. But no call?
No. It's, you know, we're in the fight here. We're in the trench, and we'll do anything we can to win. And I just felt we needed leadership out there.
Last season, Weber was ranked behind Aaron Smith, TJ Perenara, Tahuri Orangi, and Crusaders pair Bryn Hall and Mitchell Drummond. So not in the top 5.
Depends who you ask, but I'm happy with how I'm playing. I've probably been in the best form I've been in my career so far.
The 28-year-old has an exit clause in his contract if he doesn't make the World Cup.
As a professional rugby player, you have to see what's out there, see what your market value is.
It could keep rising, with yet another win over the Blues in the wooden spoon battle, which would probably leave Triple T to keep riding out the Weber wave.
New Zealand bowls great Gary Lawson has spent a decade as an outcast. Found guilty of throwing an international game in 2009, he thought his playing days for the Blackjacks were gone for good. However, a lot has changed over 10 years.
He's one of New Zealand's most colourful and controversial sportspeople, and a year ago Gary Lawson had little hope of ever playing for his country again.
But I don't think that phone call was coming.
But that phone call did come. After 10 years on the outer, Lawson will step back onto the mat for New Zealand at next month's Asia Pacific Championships on the Gold Coast.
Oh, I think there's a lot of pieces to the jigsaw, and obviously, things had to change at the top for me to be back in. I mean, that was no secret, and so they did, and so it was about just getting back and playing well.
Lawson's recall coming a decade after his infamous tanking incident, when he was found guilty of throwing a mat match at the Asia Pacs in Malaysia. That led to a decade-long exile.
We've basically just said, look, what's been in the past is going to stay there. You know, it's the old saying, if you're looking backwards, you're looking in the wrong direction. So everyone's looking forward.
Although today he was practising with another bowls great who believes he's got more big years ahead.
We always knew that, you know, the world class is there, and if it was going to be, it was going to be, and it's great to see him back in black.
With Lawson hoping he'll still be wearing those same colours at next year's World Champs.
There's sort of always that goal to maybe try and get back there, so this is a stepping stone, and obviously with the Asia Pacifics, you know, we've got the first opportunity to put our name forward for next year.
A stepping stone that will hopefully lead him to golden success as this remarkable comeback continues.
And that ends True Kai Sports for tonight. Up next, your weather details for the next 24 hours. We'll see you then.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always. And the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Fine weather for Port Moresby, cloudy in Daru. Fine weather also for Kerama, Alatau and Popaneta. To the Mamase region, fine for Ley and Wau, and showers with cloudy periods for Madang, and shower 2 for Wewak, and showers and cloudy periods for Vanimor also. To the New Guinea Islands region, fine and cloudy for Lorengau, fine for Kavia and Kokopo and Rabaul, and Puka, and in Kimbe, fine with some showers. To the Highlands region, shower 2 for Mount Hagen, showers then morning fog for Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi, and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daro to Kiwai Island, to Kerama, to Yule Island to Hood Point, Aroma Coast to Samurai Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Finchafen through Vitius and Dampier Straits, to Siasi Islands to Long Island, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Island to New Britain to Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters, and waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, and with waters of Long Island to Madang to Bogia to Wewak, to Aitape and Vanimor and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And to ocean forecast for PNG areas, Coral Sea, seas slight to moderate with clockwise winds at 10 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight with east to southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas slight with westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with southeast to southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always. And that's how it is in the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.